The Middle East in 2026 is the epicenter of the most dangerous geopolitical crisis in a generation. What began with Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, has cascaded into a regional conflagration, drawing in Iran, the United States, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and the Gulf states, with shockwaves reaching every continent on Earth. At the center of the global fallout is the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway between Iran and Oman through which roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes every day. When Iran closed the strait in March 2026, the International Energy Agency called it the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. The U.S. and Israel launched joint strikes against Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure in February 2026, driven by decades of tension over Iran's nuclear program. Iran retaliated with missile barrages across the Gulf and a naval blockade. The war displaced millions, devastated infrastructure, and left Tehran a ghost town as civilians feared going outside. For Israel, October 7th shattered its security doctrine. Under a new framework, it expanded military operations beyond Gaza into Lebanon, Syria, and the West Bank, determined to eliminate all perceived existential threats. Over 1 million Lebanese were displaced, thousands killed. But Israel's actions have also deepened its isolation. Some Arab leaders now consider Israel a greater threat than Iran. The economic consequences have been staggering. Oil surged from $70 to over $120 a barrel. Qatar halted all LNG production. Global gas prices in Europe spiked 50%. The IMF warned that higher energy costs could shave global growth and push the world towards stagflation, the toxic mix of rising prices and slowing output. The humanitarian toll is catastrophic. In Gaza, over 160 Palestinians were killed in January 2026 alone, the deadliest month since the ceasefire. In Lebanon, over 1 million displaced, rents surging by 275%. In Yemen, record hunger. In Syria, 17 million depend on aid. And across East Africa and South Asia, fertilizer shortages threaten the next planting season and food security for hundreds of millions. The crisis has reshaped global alliances. Within the West, Europe refused to join the U.S. naval campaign. Britain said it would not be drawn into a wider war. Germany declared, "This is not our war." Spain barred use of its bases. The Gulf states split. The UAE aligned with Israel, while Saudi Arabia pushed for diplomacy. The region is more polarized, more violent, and more fragmented than before. The great powers are circling. China, dependent on Middle Eastern energy, advocates diplomacy to stabilize markets, but also increases purchases of Russian oil. Russia counters U.S. influence by supporting Iran diplomatically. The conflict reinforces a polarized international system, reminiscent of Cold War alignments. And the June 2026 memorandum between the U.S. and Iran was widely seen as a strategic defeat for Washington, with Iran gaining greater control of the Strait of Hormuz. Diplomacy has failed to address the deeper drivers. Negotiations focused on ceasefires and hostage exchanges cannot succeed while the underlying political questions remain unresolved. Gaza has become the central legitimacy crisis. Continued devastation and forced displacement have intensified anger across the entire Muslim world. The two-state solution grows more distant with each passing month. The immediate danger is not only a wider war. It is the normalization of permanent instability, a region critical to global energy, trapped between unresolved conflicts, declining diplomacy, and repeated cycles of destruction. 3 scenarios remain. Managed escalation, the most likely, where hostilities continue but major powers avoid direct war. Further regional expansion, a serious risk where Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen become deeper battlefields. Or a strategic breakthrough, the least likely, requiring concessions that no side is yet willing to make. The Middle East is at a crossroads, and so is the world.